We are in week number 10 of the regular season in LHSAA football. It's the Hash and Out Show game of the week, and we got two good ones for you again this week. We appreciate everybody for continuing to support the Hash and Out Show and the Hash and Out Show game of the week. This Thursday night, we have Thomas Jefferson. The Jaguars will be taking on the Gators of Fisher in a big time game on Thursday night. We're here with the head coach of the Fisher Gators, Coach Randal Agee. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Appreciate you being taking the time out, coming on and talking with us and everything. Um, first of all, I know school itself has been through a lot of transitions over the years and everything else. And the biggest thing you look for is stability more than anything. So, first of all, how things are going with Fisher. I know you're in the Marrero location right now, but at the same time, how things are going with the school itself, the students, and also is any plans in the future of going back to Lafitte?
Yeah, so just to kind of start with where I pick up in the story of Fisher High School, I got hired in March, and a few weeks after I was brought on, we had that incident down at the field house down there where it caught on fire. And the big thing we tried to communicate was that it's not just a building, right? That was really the last thing that a lot of these kids had that tied them to the generations that came to Fisher before, right? Because they're not going through the same halls, they're not eating the same cafeterias, they're not looking at the same pictures on the wall. There really wasn't a lot that kept the newer student at this school tied to that history and that tradition and past. And, the only thing that was really left was, hey, I remember when we played on that field. I remember when we were in that locker room, this story, or, hey, man, I remember lifting in that weight room, and that was lost then. Right. And similarly, a lot of the equipment was lost then too. We lost helmets, jerseys, shoulder pads, um, all the weights, all the balls, everything and anything. So coming forward from there, and now with the demolition of the buildings down there, we can't even really use the field. So we've been displaced in that sense. In addition to how we've already been displaced academically, now our athletics are all displaced. And we're practicing at Truman. We found a really nice home. Truman's let us practice over here, so it's directly behind our temporary campus. So they've been great hosts for us. They've let us go over there as soon as practice is done, which is nice because it's a quick jump. They put a gate for us, so we can go right through to their side, and kind of helps the flow of everything go a little better. um, and a lot of schools came together to help us have a spring. We had De La Salle gave us some jerseys to wear in the spring. Eric loaned us some jerseys. Hanville loaned us some helmets, and Patrick Taylor had loaned us some pads. So, we had a lot of people come together in addition to other community help and support. We had some family members of past players purchase uniforms for us to wear for practice, and those were purchased in a way they were a little more expensive because they had to be purchased in a way that if the varsity jerseys weren't in on time, we would be able to wear those legally for a game. So, it had to have the right size printing front and back and all that. So, it made the cost of those go up a little bit. So to see the community support come in and just rally around these kids to help them have the opportunity to play was amazing. You hear a lot when you're not here about the community support around this school. And I hate the reason that I had the opportunity to experience it, but getting to experience it firsthand was awe-inspiring, spectacular. I don't know how else to phrase that. There was people from everywhere, people who had moved away, who were coming back. Family members came here. They never came here, but their aunt or uncle came here. And how many people poured into our kids. And it was amazing to see that. Now, on the temporary campus here itself, from what I'm understanding, we're supposed to be able to, with the demolition happening, I like to call myself toxically optimistic. Okay, I always try to find the best case scenario for everything. From what I'm understanding, with the demolition having started down there, I know some people have been a little upset because, right, the building that they had all those memories in, like we talked about before, is gone now. But on the plus side of that, that means that you're that much closer to having the school return to that community and be there and be that home base that everyone has to rally around, right? So, from what I'm understanding, with that process going on, they're looking somewhere in the next few years to get back. And from what I've been told, the goal is to get back there. So, I'm excited. I mean, I'm looking forward to. I know like I said, toxically optimistic. I'm hoping within the next 2 years to get to coach a game down at Best Harvey, because it's been a while, and I know not just the kids here that want to experience that, but I know the community wants to experience that as a whole, and what that would mean to the people.
Absolutely. Big time understand about that. I talked with one of a very familiar alumnus from Fisher who's been an elected director for a while in Jefferson Parish. That's Sheena Smith Dilworth. And she basically talked about a bit because she's from there.
Mhm.
And she was saying about the plans that Fisher has, the future of the new Fisher High School that's going to be coming up. And he was saying about maybe the thing that, like, she was telling me about how the new South Plaquemines High School looks. They said it's almost a similar type of plan, but we'll see how it goes. But he said it's kind of to that. What did you see in your view of what could the new Fisher become?
So I'm just a football coach, so I'm kept, as much as I wish I had all this background knowledge and information, I really don't. I've seen pretty much the same thing I think anybody else has seen about the stadium. I know that they do plan to rebuild it. It's supposed to be built similar to Zimmerman over at Shaw, with how it's elevated on one side, and obviously it's scaled down a little bit because 3A school, or well, 2A school, right? So it's scaled down a little bit, but in terms of how it's supposed to be structured, that's pretty much all that I know about it, is that aspect. Um, because again, football coach, as much as I wish I had more involvement in that, you know.
It's understandable. It's understandable, but it's a good thing that you're going to have a place to play soon, and also a new field house and everything else. So that's really good news for the future of Fisher High School and everything. So far, this season, you're first year coach, new coach to the program, new coach to the community. How has the kids had to adjust to not just your coaching, but how you really taught these kids and prepare them for game day situations and life overall off the field?
So we had an interesting situation here. We came in, they graduated a lot of guys. And we had some guys who decided that, that they wanted to focus on other sports. So we came in and we had a small group of returners, and we've kind of done our best to build around those guys. But with a small group of returners comes, you know, less experienced overall team, right? So we have 3 seniors right now, 4 juniors, and returning sophomores and freshmen, maybe 10. And then we registered about 28 kids, meaning with the LHSA, meaning that they have never played a varsity or JV sport ever. So we've been doing a lot of teaching, a lot of slowing down. I can't express enough, and I'm sure at this point the seniors probably think I'm being what's the word I'm looking for, being a little silly about it or corny, because of how often I tell them how proud I am of the role that they embraced as bridge builders. Have you ever heard that poem about
Yes.
the bridge builder? Right. So you're the old man sitting in the river and he's fighting to build the bridge, and the young guy comes across and says, "Why are you doing that? You could have already crossed it." And he says, "Well, I'm doing it to make it better for the next person who comes along." And that's really what these guys have done, is pour into these young guys and help be leaders and try to develop them as much as they can, and understand that this is going to be a rough year. Our job is to make sure that we pour ourselves into these guys to understand what winning is like and what the expectation is as being part of a football team. And in return, we try to really stress the younger guys, you're looking at this, and because when you have a young team, you stress a lot of, all right, guys, look, you're going to get better each week. There's a process to this, right? You need to find one thing you messed up on last week and try to fix it going into this week, right? And if you do that over and over and over again, you're going to be really darn good by the time you're a senior, right? But obviously, when you have a younger group of kids, that timeline looks really long and distant to them, right? A lot of kids don't have that sense of, finality or finiteness, right? Of things being finite and having an end to them. So what we've tried to express to our younger guys is, look, you have these 3 seniors that are pouring themselves into you to help you grow and be mentors to you on the field. Your job is to embrace the experience they're trying to pour into you, and embrace every learning opportunity you have, so that way you could help them experience success along this way too. Because at some point you're going to be that older guy facing his last 10 or 9 guaranteed games, right? And you're going to have to sit there and say, hey, I need some of you younger guys. We're giving y'all all this. We're trying to teach you this. We're trying to be mentors. You guys have to step up too, right? So this is your chance to step up and try to bridge that gap a little bit and bring that talent level up. Because I think overall we have a very high maximum skill set, but because of our youth and inexperience, we're not quite there yet, right? So over time we'll get there, but it's about trying to get these guys to give their effort to help those guys have their best senior year. And it has it been as good as last year was? No. I think we found a lot of positives out of this season, and we still have a shot to do something special with the. Looking forward to having a good game this week and trying to finish out for these guys.
Talk about your seniors that has led the way this season for the Gators, has really took a lot of pressure off you.
Yes, sir. So, I want to start with Cypher Tamburella. He's been a wing for us this year. He played some wing in the past. I don't know if you recognize the name. He's got about 7 brothers that all have come and gone through Fisher. He's played both ways for us, and this year I think he's maybe come off the field 4 times to get water. And outside of that, he's a guy that we really lean on and rely on to make plays. He works in the summer, and that's a common trend here. You have a lot of guys who work throughout the summer. So trying to get him in and making sure that we have the extra time to work with him when he's in town and pour into him as much as we can get into him when he is in town, right? And when we're in school year, and he's embraced that and really took it and grew with it and ran with it this year. And he's had a great senior season. I want to say right now he's our leading receiver, and he's in our top 3 rushers, and we run the ball a lot. So to be in our top 3 rushers right now, and I think he might be leading in scoring. I got to double check it after last game, but he was leading in scoring for a while too. Just an all out everything you need him to do, kid. We actually this summer, since we had lost the weight room, we had to go. St. Aug loaned us a bunch of weights. They had an outdoor weight room that got renewed, and or they got their new weight room, excuse me, so they didn't need their outdoor weight room anymore. So they had loaned us a bunch of weights, and Cypher was one of the guys that was down there helping us, taking everything apart and bringing it here and putting it back together. So there isn't a doubt in my bone that he is purple and gold through and through, and that he's one of those guys that I'm really hoping tomorrow's a special day for. Our other 2 seniors, one is a defensive specialist. He's played a little offense for us this year, but he primarily plays linebacker. He's been a district defensive MVP a couple times. That's Kale Pare. He's his family trawls, and so all summer long I want to say he missed the spring game. Yeah, so he had to miss the spring game because he had to go out and work, and he worked from then. That was about mid to early May, from then all the way through until August, and came back, and you'd have never known that he didn't train. The guy looks like a little Greek god. He's rocked up. He's a tough, hard-working kid. There were some times, like I said, that we gave him the ball in one of the games, and I think he broke about 7 or 8 tackles. He's just a tough, hard-nosed kid, and he flies around. A couple weeks ago, we had a big game, and we offered a steak to whoever was the leading tackler, right? Just, hey, if you're leading tackler of this game, we'll buy you a steak. And he won, or he had the most tackles. He said, Coach, can I give that up, and can we do something for the whole defense? That's how much of a team guy he is, and that's something we have special. Like I said about Cypher, being willing to go out there and take the weight room apart, and Kale willing to sacrifice a reward for himself to give it to his whole team. So we were able to do something special for the whole team, and he led the way with that. And then our last guy is a quiet, unsung hero on the offensive line. He's played a little D line for us this year, and that's Anthony Laporte. Anthony is a guy who has never, ever once missed a workout. He will do any single thing you ask him to do. He will, if it doesn't matter if he's never had to do it, and somebody got banged up in a game and we don't have enough guys. So, hey, Anthony, we need to go in there, and you're going to need to do this, this, and this. You get his yes, sir, and he goes out and he'll execute it, this, and this. And he has been a pleasure and a joy to be around, and he has been a amazing kid to come in and just try to help have the guys feed off of. Right, he's one of those guys. He doesn't say a lot, but his actions speak so loud.
Wow. Last question, Coach. Going into this game against Thomas Jefferson, a team that's right on the cusp of the playoffs and everything, and you guys have a chance to finish the season strong, and not just that, possibly spoil chance for Thomas Jefferson to even stay in the field and everything. What is the approach this week with your team? And then not just that, you guys did get a win on the season. You got a win against Jefferson Rise, who competed very hard last week against Thomas Jefferson. And it seemed like the guys do have a tendency and has a know-how to win. What you can say about the approach going into Thomas Jefferson, and what it would mean to you guys if you get the win on Thursday night.
So for starters, it's senior night. So I know it would mean the world to these guys to have the opportunity to finish out their senior season, the regular season, with the win. And like we said, there's some possibilities that something special could happen. A lot of things have to happen in order for that to occur. We can need to have a lot of help. But step one is try to get the win, and that makes this a very special night for those guys. Anytime you get a win on your last home game, it's special for those guys. In terms of what we're kind of looking at with Thomas Jefferson, Kenny Bush is a great coach. He does a lot with little resources, and I don't mean that in terms of that they don't give him everything that they possibly can, but with a 3A school with a lower attendance number, right, he has had a lot of success there. Are there seasons that aren't as good as others? Yes, but he always builds them back up to a point where they can be successful, and that is a mark of a great coach. And he's done a great job of that. He's been a great mentor to me this past year as a first-time head coach. I'd met him a little bit through coaching middle school ball, and so he's offered me a lot of advice and help throughout this season. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to get to have our guys go against each other. In terms of the team itself, they are who they always are. They're going to line up and play in the wing tee, and they are going to execute, and they are going to play hard, and they are going to force you to have to make plays to win the game. They're going to force you to line up to what they're going to do, and they're going to say, hey, this is who we are. Stop us. And they have had a lot of opponents this year not be able to do it. They have a really good offensive and defensive line. They got a couple of really good skill players. And, defensively, similarly, they line up and they say, we're going to play football, and we're going to be tough. We're going to be hard nosed, try to score. And so, that's the challenge we have this week is, can we out physical these guys? Are we going to be able to line up and execute against a team that does a lot of misdirection in the backfield, that has some stuff where they're displacing gaps with pullers. So they're changing their gap exchanging. And now we got to understand as a defense, we have to flow with that and adjust. Excuse me. With the, yeah. So how disciplined are we going to be this week, right? And that's something that I know Coach Bush is really good with his teams, is getting them to be tough, hard-nosed, disciplined kids. And it's exciting. It's going to be a good game.
Absolutely. The Hash It Out Show Thursday night game of the week. It will be Thomas Jefferson. It will be Fisher over at Hall Metsai Stadium. It will be a Jefferson Parish start of 6:15 for our pregame, 6:30 for the kickoff. It will be a big time game, senior night for Fisher, and we're looking forward to bringing that game to you. And tune in to JB The Sports Guys YouTube page to watch this ball game, and tune in tonight for the Hash It Out Show starting at 7 p.m. We will preview some big time games coming up in week number 10. Fisher head coach Randal Agee, thank you so much for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. We wish you the best at Fisher, and we wish you the best against Thomas Jefferson on Thursday night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me, and thank you for covering.